I am Jennifer Bangs. I am the co-director of Children of a Lesser God and the co-producer of Sweet Apple Productions, which is the production company that is putting on Children of a Lesser God. I mean, Ryan and I pinch ourselves all the time. We constantly are turning around and somebody's saying, "Hey, can I help out? Is there something that I can do?" And as a producer, like, that never happens. Like, you rarely have people just come up and say, "I want to be a part of what you're doing." And it's part of it is the magic of this show, and then I think part of it is just there's this God blessing on this show. Not to get too terribly spiritual, and we can cut this out in editing if we need to later, but I have never been a part of a production that has more spiritual people involved in it. A lot of people here go to church, a lot of people here pray, and I've just never been a part of a production that has that much spiritual influence coming into it. And I also believe that this show there is so much heart and soul in this show. It's called Children of a Lesser God for a reason. There's obviously a spiritual component there. And so I just feel the hand of God on this production, very much so. I think for hearing people like me, I think this show is an introduction into a culture and a world that they maybe don't know anything about. We've all seen people signing and we kind of go, "Ooh, that's cool." And, we watch it for a little bit and then we move on. And so for hearing people, I think it's going to be a very rich and rewarding experience to watch a culture unfold for 2 hours sitting in the theater. It does explore a deaf character's perspective and her voice and what she's trying to say and her frustrations being a deaf person in a culture, a hearing culture that wants her to be more in the hearing culture than in her own. And so I'm hopeful that the deaf culture will feel more seen, more heard by having a part of their story represented on stage to hearing people that might never have experienced part of their story.
Very good.
My name's Arthur Morton, and I play the role of Franklin. I had a really moving moment last night. The two lead actors were having a scene, and the lead female character was talking about her experience as a deaf person in this monologue. And I was just reminded of the transcendent nature of the theater. There was this moment where she was talking in front of the court. She was rehearsing her speech for the court, and she's describing her aloneness and lack of connection, and at the same time her frustration about how does that connection happen in a culture that's catering to the hearing community. And it was really a profound moment of stillness and beauty. I was tearing up, and it just made me reminded me once again why the theater is so beautiful. And this show is just not to be missed. There's going to be something very special for everybody. And I love the way the theater brings people together, and I think this is going to be a profound experience for our audience. I hope hearing audiences take away the fact that we're all the same, that we have a center, we have an essence, and we have different shells, we have different bodies that we move around in. And the things that make us different are not as big as we think they are. And the things that make us the same are much larger than we could ever imagine. We have more in common, and that we need to do everything we can to work through the differences and to connect with each other. I think the show's really a lot about connection. And I hope the audiences will walk away from this changed and going, I'm going to friggin' do whatever I have to do to know my next door neighbor or my disabled friend or my person who's a little different than me. That's what I hope. It rocks.